Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present the nation's 12th presidential pilot, retired Colonel Mark Tillman.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all of you this morning. This group here, what you've contributed to the aviation industry is amazing. And Mr. Ryan, thank you so much. I have been lost. I wasn't as excited about it as you were up here, but all of your advancements helped me find my way. On Air Force One, I couldn't have made the successful missions that we had without all of your support. You can't take a president around the world, halfway around the world into Baghdad, Afghanistan, without your support. No support waiting for us in those countries, so your product had to work the first time every time, and it definitely did. My thanks to all of you. Move back. Air Force One, 747-200. I speak pretty quick, so if anybody has any problems, just raise your hand, wave, and I'll slow myself down a little bit. 747-200, you're all familiar with. Avionics from a 300, engines from a 400. Bought under the Reagan administration, delivered under Bush 41. Still in existence today. God, I hope they get a new one fairly soon. But this plane is going to make it through probably 2022, maybe even later. And the only reason it's going to make it is because all the avionics on it are your products, and they're working fantastic. A couple upgrades in the first few years, a lot of upgrades to come in the future to meet all the different requirements, but the plane is perfectly sound, and it will make it through till 2022, I could guess. Let me jump right into some of the missions where your support was greatly appreciated and your zero-fail philosophy saved the day.
Abaddon is the brand of choice for pilots who want innovative, easy-to-use avionics. And the new IFD 540 GPS Navcom sets a new standard for simplicity in communication and LPV navigation. As a slide-in replacement for existing 530 series navigators, and with a highly intuitive touchscreen control, the IFD 540 makes it much easier to access the information you want when you want it, reducing head-down time and making flying more enjoyable. Finally, you have a choice, and the choice is easy. Abaddon.
President of the United States, President Bush, decided to go to Africa early 2003. Plan was to go ahead and base out of South Africa. Each one of those countries after September 11th had numerous threats, multiple threats against the President of the United States. One country in particular, I can't name the country sits at a base of a lake. The runway's right there at the edge of the lake. So as you come in, you got to go ahead and land right over the lake. 2 weeks prior to us going in there, the country gives us credible intelligence. A group of fishermen have man pads, rockets, and they're going to go ahead and gun down Air Force One. Plan against the president, but more important, that's my issue now. I don't want my kids reading in the history books that I failed at something and I got the president shot down. So I got to make sure everything works perfectly. I got a runway, the base of a lake, so I got to go ahead and protect Air Force One, and I got to make sure that that lake is completely secured. Any other veterans in the audience? Any Air Force folks? Premier service, obviously. That's a good one. Any Marines, Army? Outstanding. Navy? Outstanding. Did I forget any service? There we go. All right, what the Air Force would have done to secure this lake, we'd have bombed it for 4 or 5 days, completely destroyed it. We'd have gone in, we'd bombed it, we'd all gone back to our 5-star hotels, it would have been great. Army, Marines, you would have come in and surrounded the lake for days. It would have been perfect. We'd have secured that lake. Navy, God love you. You would have brought ships in. You'd have steamed up and down that lake, finding the greatest port to pull into and party like rock stars. That is nothing wrong with that. Problem with Air Force One, though, is everything we do has to be quiet, covert. We cannot take away from the president's message. We have to be the men in black. The only way you can secure a lake is to bring in these guys. We brought in a SEAL team. All it took was 5 guys, a couple of Zodiac boats, 50 cal machine gun, a little bit of comm, but a tremendous group of people with zero failure, willing to die for their country. We brought these guys in. They came into the lake. It only took them 2 days to secure that lake. Basically, they went around the lake letting all the fishermen know, new game warden in town, new game warden controlling this lake. I will let you know when it's okay to come fishing. These guys talked with us. Plan of attack was for us to come in, keep the sun behind us all of you guys, avionics guys, know, hey, you know why you want to have the sun behind you for the self-defense? The shooter's not going to be able to acquire you, lock on. So that was the plan of attack. SEAL team secondary, in case anything happened, they would go ahead and gun down the boat or the fishermen coming in. Game day. We come on in there, luck at Tillman as always, completely overcast. No chance to put the sun behind me and kind of thwart the shooter. Overcast. SEAL team adapts. They give me the entry point to enter the lake at, drop out of the clouds. I couldn't have hit the entry point without all of you guys, okay? Storm scope was very operational, didn't get hit by anything. It's all good. As we came on in, dropped down to the water. What I didn't tell you is the SEAL team wanted us for the great look angle to protect us. They wanted us at 500 feet above the water. So I took the 747, 500 feet above the water, coolest thing ever, President Bush up front, large aircraft. Skimming across the water. SEAL team, they call out the threat. We got a threat at 1 o'clock, boats coming off of the shoreline. Once again, didn't know whether it was fishermen just going out for the day or if they're actually meaning to do harm to us. SEAL team, doesn't matter. They immediately go ahead and churn the water with the 50 cal. And that's all we can see, but we hear them that they're taking care of us. Obviously, the boats, they turn around. Game warden says not a good day to go fishing, plus the fish were all scared. Not a big deal. We go ahead and we come up to the airport. As I'm coming into land, Secret Service comes to the cockpit. Tillman, the rest of the story is there's a gentleman at the foot of the stairs, host country Secret Service, that means to do harm when the president comes off the plane. They've got to find this rogue agent from that unnamed country before we can actually taxi in. Once again, it's nothing hard. Pick up the phone, call the guy on the ground, tell him, hey, we may bolter through the spot. Be ready for it. We may have to come right through because we don't know what's going on. The guy doesn't need to know all the particulars. He just needs to know that the boss said, hey, we're coming through, execute that plan. As we start to come up to the spot, all the Secret Service, normally they're looking off in the distance as shooters. Now they're looking straight down to where we're going to park because that is where the rogue agent's at. As I taxi in, I see a little commotion in the crowd near their president, and all of a sudden one guy is just basically handcuffed and pulled back from it. Once again, everything's successful. We got the president into that unnamed country. The visit went perfectly, but it was a result of everybody doing their job perfectly. That was my life after September 11, 2001. There were numerous threats against the President of the United States, and all the teams came together and we countered those threats.
Welcome to Airborne, the latest programming initiative from the Aero-News Network. Hosted by Ashley Hale, Airborne is a visually stunning, weekly high-def newscast featuring guest appearances and commentary from some of aviation's leading dignitaries, as well as ANN's own familiar faces. With aggressive reporting, extensive video, and a number of special Aero features, Airborne offers truly engaging, fast-paced Aero-News content and analysis of lasting value to all of aviation.
Air Force One, simple picture of Air Force One. The plan of attack was take a new picture of Air Force One, summer 2009. Air Force One flying down the Hudson, going towards Manhattan, F-16 on its wing, taking pictures. Goal was to get a picture of Air Force One by the Statue of Liberty. People in Manhattan saw a big, heavy plane 1,000 feet above the water coming down the town. People started moving out of Manhattan thinking it was September 11th again. I will let you know that every agency in New York, 411, 911, anything that ends in 11 was advised. Everybody knew it. But myself, being a colonel in the Air Force, I had been taught well to be a leader. So had these folks. As a great leader, they immediately disavowed all knowledge of being told about Air Force One coming up the thing. It ran in the media for days. This is why we were not the men in black. We took away from President Obama's message for 3 days. CNN, Fox, anybody wanted to know how much it cost to fly a 747 up and down the Hudson to just take pictures of it. The beauty of this whole thing was I had retired, taken President Bush back to Waco right after the inauguration. This was my deputy, presidential pilot number 13, that had to deal with this. My vantage point up in the cockpit, 20 feet up in the air, I've seen everything from kings and queens at the foot of the stairs, but I've never seen a more memorable moment as in the Midwest. During the campaign of 2004, taxiing in, I can hear all the radios. I can hear the Secret Service. I can hear the staff. As I'm taxiing in, the staff's letting each other know that at the foot of the stairs it'll be Senator so-and-so, Congressman so-and-so, local business leaders, etc. But as I'm taxiing in, I can actually see the people lined up waiting to come up with the stairs. And the president will come down and greet them. As I taxi in, I see a young man, a young Marine in a wheelchair. The young Marine is at attention from the moment I turn off the taxiway to make my run into the ramp. A young Marine who's lost both legs. A young Marine that's at attention in his wheelchair, saluting with his left hand. As the president comes down the stairs, you can hear the staff telling, okay, we got to let the president know that the young Marine has limited use of his right hand. You can see the staff maneuvering. You can hear him on the radios. As the president bolts down the stairs, he does as he always does. He meets the senators and congressmen and hugs and holds and whatever. But he comes up to the young Marine. As he's coming up to the Marine, a young staffer comes up and you can hear him talking to the president. All of a sudden, you see the president move the staffer away and you hear over the radios, the staffer tells the rest of the staff, the president says he knows how to greet a man, back away. The president comes up to the Marine, he does what he always was famous for. He drops to his knees. He hugs the Marine. He salutes the Marine. He brings the Marine's family over. He takes care of the young Marine. He took care of all the military. At that point, he points up to the cockpit. It's now my job to take care of that Marine. I was going to do it anyways, but that's all I needed was a point from the president. That for me, that was to have the young man back in his office, so when he returns, he wants to sit down and talk with the man and his family. The young man's wife was there with a 1-year-old baby. That's what the war was about. That's what the United States military is about. That's what President Bush was out. In fact, all presidents are about. But that's what we're about with the wounded warriors. They need our help, and that's why I'm donating all the proceeds to them. This is what America is about.
Aero-TV's live coverage of the 55th Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.